Martin Beach, nice to meet you. You are, is this your first time to Bermuda, in this Bermuda race?
No.
No.
I started this in 16, 18, and I guess this is my third for Newport, Bermuda, but I've done Meridian 3 times as well, and I did the Bermuda 1-2, the solo twin back.
Yeah, awesome.
And in 15.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you were on the, your boat Meridian is a Tartan 4600.
Yep.
For the camera record, and you had a heck of a race, didn't you?
Yeah, we really did. We were supposed to have a crew of 7, and we lost 2 to COVID, and one other had been with one of the guys who had COVID. So we decided that him coming without having enough quarantine time wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
So we came with 4. So it was a great race. It was a lot of work.
That's a bummer the other 2 missed out, right?
Oh man,
Yeah.
You know, talking to them now, you better believe they're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
I just told them that the boat was lighter, that's why we were fast.
Well, there's something to say for that, right? Yeah, it just made the watches that one more difficult, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
So let's break down the race for you guys. You were one of the earlier starts, right? Your class or
7.
7. So you're sort of midway.
So
through.
it was about 1. I think our start time was 1:50 or something right in there.
So you guys actually had the best of the breeze, right? You guys are the lucky ones getting out of there, right?
Yeah. Right from the beginning. I mean, the waves at the beginning were pretty interesting because the tide was going out and the wind was coming in, and but it was fine. I mean, Meridian rides over stuff like that really easily, and so for the first 3 or 4 hours, we were really blazing, and then things got very local. So we would be quiet, and we could see like a thunderstorm just 3 miles away, and those boats were flying, and so it became a very, very local kind of tactical, be ready to go whenever it was, and it was really a nice first day. It wasn't cold. Sometimes coming out of Newport, it can be pretty cool. So like we all pack long underwear and gloves and wool hats and everything.
You never know. Yeah. Good to be prepared. Yeah.
Well, 2 years ago, I mean, people were not feeling good up in the cockpit. We shortened the watches because they were getting very cold, hypothermic, and so. But we didn't need any of that. It was very comfortable, and which is nice. And and after that, our tactic was to go to the east of the line to line up for the Gulf Stream, and there's a meander that went pretty much right on course just to the east of the rum line. And what was even better was there was an eddy going down right at Bermuda. I think we came out of the Gulf Stream maybe about 12 miles east of the rum line. Then we got into an eddy. We went for 10 hours at between 2 and 3 knots of current in the right direction. So that was terrific. But very nice wind until I guess it was Monday morning, and then
things got sporty.
Then it was very off and on, and we knew. Well, we didn't know, but the weather forecast straight in front of us to Bermuda was pretty slow. So we went back west over the rum line and came in from the south, not from the south, but from the northwest into Bermuda. And in the last 10 hours, we picked up great wind, and we were just, we were not. All four of us were on deck, just going the whole way to the finish line. So it was a lot of
final
fun.
stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, the final stretch. We just had the hammer down the whole way. So it was fun. We had no breakage, which compared to some other boats, was really fortunate, and no sickness, no problems. It was just, it was really a good race for Meridian. Good conditions. She has 3 gears. 0 to 10, very slow. These are knots of wind.
Yeah.
10 to 15, nice. 15 on, rocket ship. And so we had all of it. We had low gear, middle gear, third gear.
A little less low gear, which really helped in the end.
Yeah. So it worked out well, and crew just great.
Let's run through your crew then.
Yeah. Well, Adam Cove, you might know, he was the CEO of Edson.
I know Adam,
Yeah, and so he's the young kid on our boat, and just a fantastic sailor and incredibly talented in terms of if something breaks or whatever, he knows what he's up to.
Mechanically inclined.
Yep. And Dave Tabor is a good friend who I met actually on the Bermuda 1-2. All those skippers, by the way, are like that because you don't have crews to commune with, so you're communing with the other skippers.
Yeah.
And so Dave and I became friends in 2015, and he sails all over the place. And then Joe Grabmeyer was not a serious sailor until 2016. I brought him on. He was a rookie almost, and but he has sailed with me every year since then, and did just a terrific job. And in that last day, we had our spinnaker up, and he spent the whole day just easing and bringing in the spinnaker. Just
wouldn't let go, babe.
Wouldn't let go. And, the boat never lost momentum. He was just watching it the whole way. And, we wouldn't have passed as many boats as we did in the end. Yeah. So, I gave him a high five. I would say, this is the way to do it.
Just keep on trimming. Right?
Yeah. So it was 2 watches of 2, Joe and myself and Adam and Dave. And that worked out super well.
And who's doing that? Are you doing the navigating as well?
Yeah. And, again, with a crew like that, especially with Adam and Dave, they know so much. My style is very consultative, but there's no question about what the decision is when we're done. And for me not to listen to those two would be nuts. And we all have tremendous faith in each other, and so it was seamless.
Yeah.
And we were very careful. We would plan out every move, not just that move, but that move too. What are we going to do? What is the rig set, et cetera, that we're going to go to? Because with a short crew like that, you actually want to be as efficient as you possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it's actually it's almost like it's sort of like what would you call it? Shorthanded sailing plus.
Yeah,
you're sort of.
No, it was like almost the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It was. You had terrific camaraderie, but there wasn't a lot of hands to do much. That sail changes and that sort of thing, you needed everybody. So it was to do it fast. I do mainly solo sailing. I know how to do everything as a solo, but don't expect me to do it. Yeah. So, for example, with these guys, I'd say, let me walk you through all the steps I do to, let's say, launch the spinnaker. I walk all the way through it. And I said, now it takes me about 40 minutes to get all that set up and then do it. And, we were doing it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's nice. If you extra hands, definitely makes it easier.
So very different.
That's cool.
Very different.
Real quick on the boat, the 4600 stuff, is it a newer model?
No, it's
a quick background on it.
So Tartan built, I think, 23 or 4 of them. This is one of the later models. It's 1997, and I bought it in 2010. So it was already 13 years old when I bought it, and it actually is not 46 feet, it's 48 feet long, because one of the prior owners had added a scoop.
Okay, just have a stern scoop, yeah.
And so it's a very, very comfortable boat, and actually surprisingly fast for her weight. She's 17 tons, and so as I say, that explains why she isn't so quick when in the light air, but in the heavy air, she doesn't mind waves. She doesn't mind, she just keeps right on going. She doesn't lose momentum.
Muscles it out of the way, right?
Right. And carries a lot of sail. It's a big rig. But she's very strong, and she's totally outfitted to go literally anywhere. I don't know if you've seen her. She's got all the arch, the wind, solar panels. I mean, she's totally decked out to go. Totally tricked out to go for the Caribbean or Pacific or whatever. I mean, she's totally lined up for that. And she's a nice boat. You could literally go anywhere you wanted to in her.
That's sort of that's the purpose of the finished steer class, right? It's sort of like good. I was talking with somebody about that earlier, that it's amazing. You look across the fleet here at the Yacht Club, and if you did the math of the high percentage of cruiser racers in this fleet, and it's almost like where do the Grand Prix boats go? This is the true bulk of the sort of the sailing world here.
Yeah, I'm a member of the CCA, and once I started doing the races into Bermuda, I realized how many boats, like you're talking about, were owned by CCA members and crewed by CCA members that we're just having a nice time and very relaxed and yet very skilled. And I love that.
With a good streak of competitiveness.
Yeah, right. You got to have that. But, but even, I mean, I can't tell you what it's like to be around, for me, to be around people who are that competent, that have the level of experience that most of certainly the skippers and the navigators and the watch captains that you see out here, they're not rookies. They know what they're doing. So it's great to listen to them and meet them, and so it's a nice group.
Be around it. But you mentioned, obviously that there was a lot of stories of breakages and sales, particularly just sales on the impact loading through the waves and things like that. And some people there was a lot of sort of downsizing through the night. Was that the same for you as well, or you sort of?
Well,
how were you able to preserve your boat so nicely?
Well, it's interesting. We sailed very hard most of the way. In the light air, what we were doing, we were mainly going downwind, so we dropped our main and just had the asymmetric up. And
you went no main.
No main, and that was the best. In the light wind, that was the best setup. What I was surprised about was we went wing on wing for hours and hours. So in the heavier air, we would put the main out to port, the Genoa to starboard pulled out, and we could hold that forever. And we were, doing 6-7 knots easily.
Which is sort of terminal velocity for the boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 8
Yeah.
is what she does.
Yeah.
If you're not running down a wave or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was a really surprising run that we could do that way. Then even coming across the finish line, we held the spinnaker all the way around, Kitchen Shoal, Mills, and then just at the end to make the line, we doused the spinnaker and pulled out the Genoa, and we could come right across it. The spinnaker wasn't going to quite get us there, and so in the last 250 yards, we dodged in, and so it was great. There's a lot of thought process when it. Obviously there's a ton of luck. We did not expect the eddy under the stream. Once the meander went off to the east, I knew there was an eddy in there, but I didn't have any idea that it was that fast and that it would be that long. And so that gave us a tremendous boost that I really wasn't expecting.
Were there a lot of boats around you at that point when you hooked into it?
No, mainly in Class 8. And so we were definitely in the fastest group for Class 7, but we were also right with the Class 8 boats. And so there were about 6 or 7 boats that we were with almost the entire race. I could constantly see them on the AIS, and in the end, 5 of us came in together, and we were the only Class 7. The others were Class 8 or St. David, and but we'd been together almost the entire race.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was, and you could really measure yourself off of them. And I mean, that's nice, when you get into a race like the Bermuda 1-2 that I was talking about, there's only, typically 30 or fewer boats. So you're not with boats, but in this race, because there were 180 whatever, we were with boats the entire time. We could see them. And obviously AIS, you can actually see more, but you could just look over and, there a mile away was this guy that you'd been with for the last 14 hours, and he had moved out maybe half a mile, and now you were, kept you pretty sharp.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, these downwind races like this are probably more rare than often, right? And so in terms of the ones that you've done so far, how does this rank in terms of enjoyment and challenge and all the things that keep you coming back?
Yeah. It was, well, number one, it was very, very good. The combination of weather, conditions in sea state, and the team was terrific. And the boat, again, there was no breakage, so we were intact the entire way, and that makes a difference. It wasn't as rough at times. I mean, for example, the Gulf Stream was not rough. There were certainly waves, but it was wind with current, so you didn't have the steep piles that you would get if it was more of a beat going down the Gulf Stream. That can be pretty troubling for a lot of people, and especially the lighter boats. They're just bounding over it. That we didn't have. The moon was beautiful every night.
Stars are out, yeah.
Well, I mean, I not to wax eloquently, but the beauty. We saw a whale. I mean, there's so much going on all the time. Yeah. And the beauty of the ocean, the colors, the changes, and the sunsets were incredible. So, I mean, there wasn't a moment that you weren't saying, I'm glad I'm doing this. This is a real adventure. So that was fun, and of course getting, I think approaching Bermuda, as soon as I hear Bermuda radio,
Right.
I all of a sudden feel so comfortable. It's like, okay, now I'm here, and so for the last 30 miles or so, they're checking in with all the boats around. You can hear them.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm getting there.
Close,
I'm in the home stretch now. So.
And there's, as Alfred said, you're in the home stretch, but some people just would like to keep stretching it. There's a point where you're there, but it'd just be good to keep going, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, in our class, we came in behind Artemisia, and they were about 6 minutes in front of us. And I think if we'd gone another mile and a half, we would have been, we would have been there, and because we were overtaking them very, very clearly, and it was funny. It's like, God, I wish the finish line was just a little further left on there.
Yeah.
But no, it was great to race with everybody. It really was. It really was.
And how about the class win? Did you were you anticipating it where you were, relative to the boats and where you knew people were? Was it kind of a sure thing as you made your way down the track, or not until you got here? Yeah?
No, I mean, for example, I'd raced against Toujours, which won the class on a corrected basis. So I knew we had to be hours in front of them, and I expected Pinnacle. I'd raced most of these boats in prior years,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I expected Pinnacle to be a lot closer, and they just didn't find the water, and as I said, Artemisia, we left them at the beginning. I think they went a different direction. I haven't really watched their path, but I could tell at the end. I was like, we're faster than they are. Why aren't we in front? And then, they obviously in that lull period, they were getting something that we didn't see at all. But as soon as the wind, they got about 6 miles out on us, and then we just started closing. But we ran out of track.
Yeah.
But I think in 18 we finished first in our class, but then you get corrected out of that.
Yeah.
And so it was. I wasn't surprised about any of the outcome except. Again, the only one that surprised me was, I think, I've talked to Peter on Pinnacle, and they just missed the water.
Yeah.
And so they got, they got broken away from the crowd. So they are usually, just like that with us. And they're a Tartan 4100, and we give them time. So if they're anywhere close to us, they win. But so it's.
But you got it done.
Yeah, we got it done. It was great, and I'm definitely going to do it again.
Excellent.